when we were thinking about what to do for this night, because every month there's a different theme, which keeps it interesting and exciting to everyone. Initially we thought like duos and trios, which it sort of kind of is, but not necessarily. So I was looking into the meaning of dialogue, because I'd always assumed it was like, you know, a conversation between two people or two parties, but it actually doesn't mean that. It's from the ancient Greek, dia as in a cross, and logion, which is to gather. So it's to gather across or gather between. So what we have here is two spoken word artists and two musicians. So it's like a gathering as a form of dialogue, basically, what dialogue actually is. And trialogue and duologue, which is sort of, you know, also well known, are actually back formations that were not really necessary because dialogue sort of encompasses it all. It could be 100 people, it doesn't even matter. And Daniel S. Martin over there has written a spoken word piece tonight, but himself and also Shadow Liptrot will be performing, and Trevor Lyons at double bass and myself, Steve Tromans, will be accompanying in that improvised fashion. We might as well start, unless you want to say anything extra, Dan?
This is the act of creation, Part 1.
How did you come up with the concept for your most acclaimed work, Killer Massive Bee from Outer Space, Citizen of Cupola 2?
I was in the garden and saw this really big bee and thought, wow, a bee.
Is that all?
Pretty much.
But what about all that anti-war subtext?
Subtext? I never put any anti-war crap into the film.
Killer Massive Bee from Outer Space, Citizen of Cupola 2 is studied in film schools internationally as a masterpiece of layered storytelling.
Oh, is it now?
Yes, it is.
That's news to me. I just like the concept.
The concept?
You know, the whole killer bee stuff.
A killer bee from Cupola 2, a planet deep into outer space that comes to Earth on a warpath after hearing the cosmic cries of a planet's genocide of insect life due to an ever warming climate, and more specifically, the bee population?
Yeah, all that stuff.
But what about the young girl in the attack on Birmingham that the bees like?
Ah, funny story about that. That young actress, I think she's quite a popular singer now, haven't spoken to her in years, was found by the producers by complete chance. She'd been acting in local theatre groups for some time and was recommended by a friend of our producer's girlfriend at the time. I've had some say her talents at acting were just terrible. And perhaps they aren't wrong. She's definitely a more gifted singer, but she was fine in that role. And actually, that character only lived because this actress was so sweet and kind-hearted. I couldn't be so cruel as to subject an audience to watching her die.
But she was spared because the killer bee could sense her love of bees.
Yeah, that's right.
But the character mourned not seeing the bees in the city.
That was a nice touch, wasn't it? Not my idea, admittedly. In fact...
What ultimately was your idea about the film?
What do you mean by that?
Well, what did you want the audience to take away from this film? A lot of fans of these films often describe a haunting effect that the film has on them. Many seem to take something significant away with them, as perhaps they leave the film behind.
So you're asking me what it was I wanted to say in my work?
Well, I guess so, yes.
I suppose what I had in mind at the time, when the film was first coming together. Well, I wanted the audience to feel the terror of a massive being from outer space. Does that answer your question?
No. Well, yes, it answers my question, but it's quite hard to believe.
Hard to believe?
That you seemingly put no thought into your work.
There was plenty of thought. Do you have any idea how hard it was to make a film in those days? So many moving parts, so much to think about. And don't get me started on budgeting.
That is absolutely not what I meant.
You know what? I think you should start making yourself clear, easily understood.
Okay, well, do you want to know what I think?
Please, enlighten me.
You and your work are more meaningless than a needle found in a haystack by a dog that only speaks Polish but is in Canada.